Hey everybody, it's going to be a quick tutorial on making Gamepad vibration for the multiplayer zombie survival template. So when you shoot your gun or reload or get hit by a zombie or whatever you need your Gamepad controller to vibrate when that happens, you'll be able to do it. So there's not really there's not really a way I can actually show you the actual gamepad vibrating, but I can show you how to set it up. And if you have a gamepad, Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, whatever, then hopefully it'll vibrate for you whenever you need it to do that. So let's just hop right in. Let's see. The first thing I want to do is I'm just going to make a new folder right here inside of HGT. I'm going to call it, they call it force feedback on inside Unreal Engine, so I'm just going to call force feedback. So then we want to right click inside this folder. We want to go to input and force feedback effect. This is Unreal Engine 5.5 that I'm working at right now. If you're in Unreal Engine 4, I think it's under miscellaneous and force feedback, but same thing. But Unreal Engine 5 is under input and force feedback effect. So we add that. You can name it if you want. I'm going to call it something like weapon shoot feedback. This will be for when we shoot our weapon. Alright, so first thing you want to do is when you open it up, click on these little drop downs here and it gives you a nice little curve. If you hold down shift and you click, it'll create a key. I'm just going to make the first key 0, 0, shift and left click and make the second one something like 0.15. Shift and click and make the last one 0.25. And a value of 0.25. No, value of, I don't know. You could. This is the actual vibration, so you can adjust the time and the settings. I think we'll do something like that. So the vibration goes from a value of like 0 to 1. From what I've read, and from I think 1 is like extreme vibration, like an earthquake going off with your controller, so we don't want that. So I'm just gonna keep the max for when you're shooting your gun at like 0.5. Alright, so once you created that, you can click this button that says create external curve and just select, I'm gonna let it select this folder that we're already in and let it, this is the name of it, weapon shoot feedback curve. Save. And then we can close that. So let me just go ahead and, yeah, good. Alright, so now that we have a curve for the vibration, I'm going to go ahead and make a blueprint interface as well. And I'm going to call it force feedback interface. So what this is going to be is just an easy way for us to add force, rumble, feedback, whatever you want to call it, anywhere we want. So add Whippy's force feedback. You don't have to call it this. You could just call it add force feedback. How about we do that so it's not so funny. Alright, that's the name that we're going to be calling it. And under the input, we're going to need to add a new input here. We'll call it force feedback effect. Is what we're looking for here. Select that, give it a name, force feedback type. Alright, so now we have this, we can close this interface, and now we just need a way to call it. So let's go call it inside of HGT, Core Blueprints, Gameplay, Gameplay PC, which is our player controller. So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom. I'm just going to first go to class settings, and on the right hand side over here, implemented interfaces, and we're going to add force feedback interface. Click that, and then make sure you hit compile and save, and then you can right click in your graph and type in add force feedback, and we want to add the event here. Click that. Gives you this nice little event that we just created it from the interface. And then we just want to type something like client force feedback. Yeah, client play force feedback. And then you just connect this in like that. And there you go. This will play feedback now whenever we call it. So now what do we call it, right? So let's go to HGT characters, space character, third person character. Wait for it to open. And this is the third person character here. So what we want to do is we want to find, say, where we shoot. Down here we got primary, fire, and shoot your weapon, right? Let's just come over here to the right, and right after we do this server increment shooting thing, we will just do a get controller, boop, and drag off of this and say add force feedback message like this, and then we're just going to plug it in like that. It's kind of cramped right here for you to see, but basically it's like that. So every time you shoot your gun, and make sure you click the drop down and pick the actual feedback that you want to use, which is our weapon shoot feedback. So there's no way to like visually show this to you, because when I hop in the game my controller will be vibrating, but you won't be able to see any of that. So let's just for the sake of the video, I'll show you. I'll put a print string in there. That's about all I can show you. Where we would just at, where the actual adds the rumble, I'll just put my gamepad is rumbling. So maybe you'll be able to see that on the screen and you'll know that it's working. So then I come into here, I got it set to listen server. I'll do it on both. So listen server, you can see in the top left my gamepad is rumbling, and it is. I'm holding it in my hand and shooting right now. Alright, and it also works with client as well, I hope. Let's see. And let's test it with 2 just to make sure that we don't rumble on both at the same time. Alright, server, that's good. As you can see at the top left, it only prints for the actual player that's shooting. You don't want everyone's controller rumbling when somebody's shooting. So that works great. And let me just show you a couple more places that you could do this, like maybe reload animation. So like, I don't know, I've not really used controller gamepads a lot, but maybe when you're reloading your gun, you want to add something to the reload animation to give it a little vibration. Let's go into, say, the starting rifle. You'd probably do it for first person animations, but we'll just slap it on a random animation here. Third person reload animation. Let's go look at this one. Alright, so let's say when he reloads the gun, you want it to vibrate, right? We could do that easy. So maybe right there, we'll just add a new notify track here. So we have some room. We say add notify, and then just click new notify up here. We'll call it add force feed. Well, we'll just say add rumble. Good enough. Alright, you can name it whatever you want. Let's see, we'll have one there when he pulls the mag out, and then maybe another one right there when he puts the mag in. And we'll save that. And then you want to go to the animation blueprint, which is this little orange button up here. Then we have to add this. So let's see. Add rumble. Here's our rumble event that we just, or our notify. This will run every time that we added in our animation. I'm just going to copy the same little thing here since we already have it. That ought to work. So basically, like, since we're inside the third person character, on the when you begin the thing, I'm just like getting the pawn owner cast and saving a reference to it. I guess technically you don't have to do this. If you wanted to do it the old school way, you can say get pawn owner, get controller, and then yeah, this would probably work. Still want to probably do this though, just to be sure, because these animation blueprints I think run on everybody. Like they have some kind of replication on some of it. So let's just go ahead and basically this is saying, are you locally controlled? Meaning like, are you don't want it to run on other people's computer. And then you're just getting the controller and adding force feedback, and let's change it to this one. Now when we hop into the game, I clicked the wrong button. We let's see here. Yeah, it's rumbling. So let me just shoot once and wait for the print string to go away. Reload. There it is. And there it is. Yeah. So it vibrates when you reload. Alright. And then I guess one other probably spot that you could do it would be maybe inside the third person character under player health and death. Maybe when you take any damage, like getting hit by zombies or getting shot or whatever your game is. You could just slap it in here as well. Something like this, right when you take damage. Let's see here. The only problem is this is run on the server. That's a server event, so we'll have to test this. Why is this in a different window? Come on now. Alright, so I know it's going to work on the server when a zombie hits me. But we'll have to test to see if it works on a client. I'm waiting on the zombie to appear. Alright, hit me. So, it rumbles when you got hit. Now let's see if it works for a client. Client. Let me just go ahead and throw a zombie in there so we don't have to wait. Oh yeah, it's rumbling even on the server. Maybe that's good. I just don't want it to rumble on both players. Let's test that. I don't want like player 1 getting hit by a zombie and then player 2's controller vibrating. Yeah, I don't think that's working right. He only wants this character for some reason. Alright, well, it's hard to tell when you're playing an editor like this. I don't know. Let's see. You might have to do some sort of local event, custom event. I'm not sure. So you'll have to test this one out. So you guys watching this, test it out for me. See if this actually works. Since this is a server event, when you take damage, it's server only. I'm not entirely sure. And the way this all works in the editor, playing an editor, you need to like actually test it in a compiled packaged game, probably with your friends, to see how this works. I know the others will work because it's done locally. Like down here where we're shooting our weapon, like this is just a local event. There's no replication until you get like into some of this part, and we left it out of that. We're just doing it straight here, right off the input click button. Like as soon as you click the shoot button, it plays the force feedback. So I know that doesn't affect anyone else, and I know we're doing it inside of the player controller, which is local. So just in case, I'll show you a backup just in case it's weird. So let's say on the when you take damage, we'll make a custom event. We'll say locally play damage rumble, something like that, and we'll set it to run on only client. Come on, Unreal Engine 5 is so slow for me. Maybe I need a new computer. I don't know. We'll just say is locally controlled just to be safe. And if true, then we'll add a force feedback. And this is where we'll say the locally play damage rumble. Make sure you connect this back up. So then it should look like something like this. So we'll call this event, which will check to see if you're locally controlled. It's run on owning client, and it should play this. Now let's see if that works. If it compiles, saves. Okay. We're set to 2 players. We'll do listen server, let play. Hopefully, when this guy gets hit, yeah, it's playing on client 1 only. Nice. And then this is server. Yeah, it's playing on only server. Good. Alright. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, that's probably the only way to do it for multiplayer. I'll test it again with 2 clients. Make sure we got client 2 should be the only one that prints. No, client 1 will print. Client 1, yeah. Client 1's rumbling. And then client 2. Client 2 should rumble. Nice. Alright. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Doing it this way for since the server damage event is a server event. Alright, so basically you're literally just reusing this, and you can change this to whatever you want. Like if you wanted to make a stronger vibration, right now we're only using this one feedback here with this graph. But I mean, let's say you wanted something crazy like shooting. I don't know what you would want it for, but you could just either duplicate this or make another one. You can call it something like heavy rumble feedback, and you can open it up and take away this curve, and then you can change something like this. Would go from maybe 1 second long and a value of 1, which would give you this really earthquakey vibe. It's gonna rumble for 1 whole second, and it's gonna be max strength for. It's gonna be crazy. And then you can just simply change it to heavy rumble feedback. Then, like I'll change that when you get hit by a zombie, I'll make it a heavy rumble. Because right now it's pretty kind of lightweight. So now, when you go and get hit by a zombie, it should rumble crazy. Yeah, that's rumbling like crazy. Let's see if I can. Yeah. There's no way for me to. I was going to see if I could hold my controller up to the microphone so you can hear the vibration, but it didn't work. Alright, so I hope that helps. Like I said, I just looked into all this stuff today, and it seemed pretty straightforward. It's just the multiplayer side that's kind of could be a little tricky. But you'll be able to now, you can add rumbles through notifiers in your animations, or just straight in your actual character. And since we did it all inside the actual player controller and not the character itself, like this is the third person character, but let's say maybe you possess a spaceship or a tank or a robot or whatever in your game, you know, like you're not always playing as this character. You're still always using your player controller to control whatever it is you're controlling, whether it be a spaceship or a whatever. Since we did it inside here, it's locally, and you can always call it. So if you had a spaceship blueprint, you would literally just use this same exact thing. You would just get your controller, add the feedback. So it should work everywhere, whether you're in an animation blueprint, whatever. So I hope that helped. thanks for watching. And if you got any questions or if anything doesn't work right or whatever, just throw it in the Discord and I'll see if I can figure it out. Try my best. So thanks for watching. See ya.